So in this video, we're going to cover the main things that you need to know if you're moving to Knoxville, Tennessee, and you're going to be financing your new home. And if you want to know everything that there is to know about living, working, eating, and playing here in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, then you're going to want to subscribe below and click that bell so you can be one of the first notified of the current market conditions here in Knoxville. My name is Todd Jewell, and me and my team receive calls and emails every day from people just like you, and we absolutely love to hear from you. We really don't care if you're looking to move immediately, if you're not going to be moving for a year. We want to go ahead and get the process started so it can be as easy and stress-free as possible. Okay, let's get to it. I have with me today Gabe Curtis. He's with Gateway Mortgage. He is very knowledgeable in the market. I also consider him a friend, and he's here today to talk about some of the most important things that you need to consider when you're looking to relocate, some timing issues in financing your own home. So one of the things that I've done as a real estate agent over the last 15 years is realize that one of the most important pieces of the process is the lender. So if there's financing involved, it's very important that you get the lender involved, in my opinion, very early, and you have a lender who really has some experience, understands the process, and is good at explaining that process to you, especially coming from an out-of-state situation where, you know, the process in Tennessee may not be the same process as you see in Florida, and it's definitely a different process than you're going to see in a New York or a lot of those states. So I have Gabe Curtis of Gateway Mortgage on here with me today. Gabe's a good friend of mine, and he's also one of the best mortgage lenders that I know. He's great at explaining things to people, and I've just asked him to come on here and give me some of his expertise of what he's seen, because he works with a lot of out-of-state folks that he's seeing. And one of the things I think is important that I tell everybody that I'm working with, and if you've worked with me in the past and you watch this video, you know this to be true, is they've got to get the lenders involved really early in the process. Before we find a home, before we get a contract, honestly, before we look at homes, because there's a lot of reasons and things that you need to know that you don't know yet that he's going to be able to help you with. So, Gabe, tell me one of the reasons, or let's talk about some of that. Why do you feel like it's important that you are involved early in the process as a lender?
Well, you know, Todd, getting it involved as quickly as possible gets all the verifications out of the way for the client. You know, it gets the income verified, the jobs verified, making sure we meet the Freddie Mac guidelines. You know, most of my out-of-state clients are conventional. You know, very rarely are we using an FHA or a VA, occasionally, but conventional has different conforming guidelines than all the other programs. And so many times, if I can go ahead and ascertain documentation for whether it's a house sale or income or whatever that we're needing to qualify, then I can alleviate most of our problems on the front side. And when they walk in, when, you know, I give them that pre-qualification letter and they hand it to you, 100% confidence that this deal is going. We just literally, the only thing I do is go find the house.
Right. And I tell them a lot, and you could talk about this too. I mean, one is you know, the principal and interest payment's one thing, but you've also got taxes and insurance and other things to consider in that. And I don't use the word, what can a client afford? It's what do they want to invest every month? What are they comfortable with? And, you know, you can go online and calculate some of that yourself, but in my opinion, they need to talk to you about those costs and get a hard amount so that they can feel comfortable, so that we can go out and look at homes they can actually are going to be happy when they get a contract on it. What about this, Gabe? Tell me, if somebody, most of our folks are either selling a home or going to have to sell a home when they move down. Any issues there from a financing standpoint?
You know, from a financial standpoint, when you're talking about them selling a home or needing to sell a home, we're getting that approval based on said home sale. And one of the major things that comes into play here is the timing for that. Because most of the time they're using that money they get from that sale as their down payment, or they're putting a chunk of that equity they're gained onto this new home. And so we have to be able to document the legitimate sale, you know, go ahead and set up wiring availability. So literally the title company they close with could wire the money to the title company we're using here to take care of that. And it's, you know, we don't have to worry about it. if it happens 7 days, we sell a house in, let's say, California, and then we're coming here and it's 7 days since we sold the house, then typically the bank's going to continue to hold that money for another 3 to 5 days just to make sure it clears. And now we can't even wire the money. So we need to be able to understand the documentation and understand what they're doing, how they're getting their money, number one. And number two, in order for us to get our down payment here, these are the steps we need to take. And we also got to have that proof of sale. That is a requirement. That's a guideline. It's not a Gateway guideline. That is a federal guideline. So any lender in the world has to do that. And, if you close it in California, you probably don't have all the signed stuff that we need. So we need to contact that title company, go ahead and get that emailed or faxed over so we can have that and we can have it with our underwriter and they go, yep, we're good. Meet the guidelines and we can move forward. So that's a very important piece of the puzzle.
Okay, good. I know for us, some places take 60, 90 days to close on a transaction, certain states. In the state of Tennessee, it's not unusual, or I know it's not unusual for me and you, to close a transaction in 3 weeks to 30 days. That's kind of typical.
Yes.
So once we put a contract, and sellers are expecting that in our area. So
yes,
we go to try to buy a home and we put a contract down to own a home. We can't give ourselves 45 to 60 days for them to go out, gather financial information, get it to you, get the approval, do all those kind of things. So urgency is key.
Absolutely.
So getting you involved early, getting you all that stuff up front. So all you have to do when the time comes is get an update.
Yeah.
Makes everything flow smoother, wouldn't you say?
Extreme, if we're gathering in it's important, it's imperative for the client to be urgent with us because we're going to be urgent with them. And, I'll stress this, as a lender, I will never ask you for something that I don't need. If I ask you for it, I got to have it. So if you can stay on a 24 to 48 hour timeline with me and gathering those docs, especially on the front side, we're asking for, tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements. We're asking for those things that we need. When it comes out of underwriting, the literal only thing we've got left are document the sale, appraisal, and title work, and homeowners insurance. That's the things we're going to need. Those are simple. Those are quick. And, I'll help you with those, walk you through them, help you shop agencies, whatever you can. And right now, if a client can get with me, give me what I need, and I can get you an underwriting within 2 days, and it is out of underwriting within 2 days. We're on day 4 and you're still looking for a home and you're fully approved. All we've got to do is find a home at that price range you're approved for or less. That's where we're at. And once we get that contract, we're waiting on the appraiser and the title company. And the title company we use is 7 days max. And most appraisers are within 10 days. Or less, 10 days or less. So we're literally looking from the time you get a contract to the time we close is somewhere between 18 and 25 days on average right now. And I'll stress this one more time, the urgency of the client. As long as you, the client, are getting me the documents that I need when I request them and at a fast pace, I am so much faster. And it alleviates a lot of headache for you.
Are you seeing anything, I think about people moving here, just about some clients working with now, challenges as far as what if they're changing jobs? Any difference in underwriting standards that maybe have changed since the last time they bought a home as far as it goes to employment or anything like that? Is there any of those unexpected things they should look out?
Yeah. That's why income documentation is the number one thing that we have to get situated and out of the way immediately. If you're transferring jobs, we want to make sure you transfer with the same company. You're getting the same amount of dollars, at least the same rate of pay. If you're taking a pay cut, that's okay because Tennessee probably a cheaper living and it probably won't affect you too much, but we want to verify those things are still there. If you're taking a change in job and you're getting less hours, now you're variable income. So we've got to look at those and understand what kind of job you've been on and have you been variable before? And just to give you an idea, variable is less than 40 hours. If you get 1 week, 36 hours and you get 5 weeks at 40, you're considered variable for a year. And we need a year of documentation of that income. The other side of that is, if you're a self-employed person, then I know this may be a little out there, but if you're self-employed, specific certain self-employment, such as like a contract. All right. Contractors in California or Texas or Florida, it's different than being a contractor in Tennessee. And the way the guidelines read is you're changing markets. So you now, even though you've had 5, 7, 8 years as self-employed contractor, you're now moving a new market. You're no longer have eligible income. So it's one of those things that we've really got to look into. You know, the other side of it is remote workers. This is the beauty of remote work. As long as you got internet access, you're still the same. We look at you no different, whether you sit in Washington, New York, Tennessee, wherever you are, you're remote. It does not matter. So that's the biggest issue. And same line of work. So this is something that comes up. If you're a school teacher and you're going to be a school teacher, fantastic. We get a contract. It's no big deal. You're a dog or, you know, whatever you may be. But if you're a truck driver out in North Dakota and you're coming to Tennessee to be an iron worker, we got issues, you know, where we need to make sure that we've got those handled immediately.
The quicker they understand where the landmines lay,
Correct.
The better you can help them navigate those so that they can make that move easier than it would be should they just think this would make sense to do and then find out, you know, man, I should have waited to do certain things.
Yes, absolutely. We can avoid the bombs and the blow-ups. The last thing that I will say from a lending side is you're going to get a little bit more of attention from us. We're going to stay in constant communication because not only do we have deadlines, but you have deadlines. You've got either job moves or you've got, you know, moving trucks or you've got things that I've got to be in this rental, you know, for this week. You know, I've got to move. So I want to make sure that when you do that, I've got all my bases covered when you have things at your fingertips and I'm not putting you in a bind. So you'll get a lot of attention and constant contact. So don't ignore it. It's just, I'm trying to make life easy for you and not create headaches for you as you're transitioning to this state or to Knoxville.
And I can say this too, and it's part of what, you know, it's part of the experience factor of being in this for quite a while and working with out-of-state buyers like I have for so many years, in that lenders are the same way. You know, there's a difference in the process in working with someone who lives in Knoxville that's buying a home in Knoxville currently than there is someone who lives on the West Coast who's buying a home in Tennessee. Understanding that dynamic and being able to work around it and being used to working with what I call absent buyers, you know, is very, very important. And I will say that Gabe and Gateway is really good at that. I'm going to put all of Gabe's contact information in the description and the comments below, so you can reach out to him directly if you would like to. He'll be glad to answer any questions for you. He is my go-to. And if you work with us here, I'm going to probably encourage you highly to speak with him, at least so that I know that he's going to be completely upfront with you. That's very, very, very important when you are talking about moving to an entirely new area. So, Gabe, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. So there you have it. A quick overview of some of the more important things you need to consider if you are moving to a new location and you are financing your new home. Number one takeaway from that needs to be to get the lender involved early. Real estate agents are not lenders. You need a knowledgeable mortgage lender involved from the very beginning. Usually someone who's really good at communicating. Local, in my opinion, is always best for multiple reasons, from trying to get our contract accepted on a loan, sellers like local lenders, all the way through the fact that most of the time your real estate agent, hopefully me, is going to have a relationship with those local lenders. And that also makes the process move along quicker and easier. So if you enjoyed this video today, give us a thumbs up. If you like this format, let me know in the comments below. I hope you learned something today. If you haven't reached out to me yet, you have any other questions, or you're ready to consider Knoxville as a possible move, my contact information is below. Send me an email, a phone call, a text, schedule that Zoom meeting so that we can go ahead and learn a little bit about your particular situation. Gabe's information is also below. If you have lender questions or you want to reach out to him directly, please feel free to do so. And until next time, guys, I really look forward to seeing you around town, Knoxville soon.